still 7.
Yeah.
It is 7 o'clock. We are coming to order.
Okey-dokey.
So roll call.
Arnold,
Here.
Beckwith,
Here.
Farcapisi,
Here.
Flores,
Here.
Katsinis,
Here.
Hamilton,
Here.
and Sutton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Woo-hoo.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mission statement: to enrich, empower, and enlighten the people of the Warren Newport Public Library District. All right, public comment. Anyone? All right. Moving on, memoranda, or saw the Chicago Tribune article. Anything else?
Did you want to look at this? No, no more.
All right. Consent agenda. Is there anything anyone wants to remove from consent? If not, can I get a motion for the consent agenda?
I move that the consent agenda be approved as presented. Second.
Last.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained. President's report, that's on page 17. Let me know if there are any questions. Does anyone else have a report today?
Library After Dark was a blast.
Yes, it
Such
was.
a great thing, and it was so fun. I was really pleased with the decoration, everything, and the woman who played the guitar was spectacular.
Oh, so good.
She was great, yeah.
Let's do it
How
again.
many people did we have, do you know?
A little over 100.
That's what I
Yeah,
guess,
yeah.
yeah.
So,
And how much money did we think?
well, we netted about $4,000.
Did we?
Yeah,
Oh,
which
that's-
so also keep in mind that this was a pivot. We were originally going to do the charity
Oh, I know.
fundraiser,
I've got
and
nothing for that.
we realized, to our credit, I think early in the summer, talking to people, there just wasn't a lot of buzz for it. I just don't think this was the right community for it.
Yeah.
So we talked about it, and we're like, well, what can we do? And some of the libraries had used this model, so we got planning kind of late. So we believe if we do it again, we can scale it up because if we could. I mean, I think we could double the attendance.
Yeah.
You know, rather easy.
Well, and
Um,
now people will have heard about it and what it was
Yeah.
like and stuff.
Yeah, and figure out other ways to monetize it. So, you know, I think, you know, from a pure fundraising point of view, yeah, I raised some money. It would have been great to have a higher number. However, from an event point of view, I feel it was a success.
Well,
Yeah.
and nice to see community members here that, you know, just, I thought it was really a way to grab people's attention. And hopefully next year, you know, we'll start spreading the word now that we know what it is. I like
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, and my thanks to because the entire board was at the
I know.
event.
Wasn't that
So
fun?
that was fun. It was great. I love the photos that some of you shared with me that
Yeah.
the board together. So it was great. So thank you for supporting the event too.
Oh, yeah, it was good.
It was really all George's idea for the photo.
It really is a great photo. So.
All right. President's, okay, we're down to Executive Director's Report, page 18.
Yeah, the other thing I'll point out, other than what's in this, in the board packet, well, I'll point out a couple of things. We had a nice ribbon cutting ceremony for the Quiet Reading Room the other day. I think 4 board members were there, and thank you for coming for that. I know it was a bad time, you know, like early on a Monday, so. But that was a nice event. I appreciate the mayor and also Trustee O'Brien from the village coming to support that as well. And we had a lot of donors for the annual appeal letter that came, and that was nice as well. Then what's the other thing I was going to mention? That's upcoming. Oh, Hispanic Heritage Month celebration on Saturday. So that's from 11 to 1 o'clock. So hopefully you'll be able to stop by and attend. I'm excited about that event this weekend. And the other thing I want to talk about is just some of the challenges we've had with after school students, but I'll save that for later in the agenda.
So there was a 50-cent gift?
Yeah, it's odd. I haven't Doug unfortunately has been out for a little while, so I haven't had a chance to ask him about that because I'm not sure.
They
I'm
found-
It might be
They
where
found 2/4.
people pay a fine and they just pay it, round it up to the dollar.
yeah, maybe.
It just struck me
Made me laugh.
a little, I didn't notice that.
I was wondering, I know that, was it last month, there was a big push for people to sign up for the library card, I didn't know.
Oh, what our
Like,
results were?
Yeah, and
You
I know we changed
I can
the look of the card. right?
find out. That's a good question. Well, the other thing that happened too with CCS is the CCS rules are different than ours in terms of when they purge patron accounts. So we purged quite a few patron records. So I need to look to see what our percentage of cardholders are in the district. So I think we'll want to have a big push to, maybe another campaign to get people to sign up for library cards. I think in fact, I've heard of some users that exclusively use their library cards for e-content that they don't ever really come into the library, but they use it for Libby and whatnot. And I think a few of those patrons were active and somehow they got purged. So we'll have to work with that nuance.
Me.
Me?
Yeah, I mean, I really rarely check out physical
Yeah.
books, so.
And there are,
Don't purge my account.
and I don't know what percentage because the problem is, I guess, with the system, or maybe it was with Sierra. I need to find out about that. Either with the migration or somewhere in the ILS, it when you access, like you go into Libby, it doesn't ping that as a transaction in the ILS. So
makes
I don't know if
sense.
that was a Sierra thing or a Polaris thing or both. So I need to double check on that.
Can I ask something about something
Mhm.
else? The thing under adult services where it says debuted a new social service group program, what is that exactly? It sounds neat.
Joe, I'm sorry, what page? are you?
Adult services
20.
is the fourth bullet point.
Page 20.
Social group program.
Oh, yes. So, yeah, this is neat. So what we started doing is having these, basically it's a program for different groups of individuals and communities. So we've done LGBTQ, we've done new moms, and I think these are at least every other month, if not trying to go monthly. So the idea is, you're for example, you're a new mom and you want to have an opportunity to meet other new moms, then it's just basically a chance for you to come and meet new moms and talk about your experiences, maybe.
So there are ideas that the staff is thinking of or that people are asking for, or both?
This is where, in terms of where we got I think this was a staff-generated idea, and it was a kind of a simple way to. No, I don't believe a patron stepped up and said, "Hey, can you start this group?"
Right.
But I can double check on
But
that.
maybe once
But-
they hear that there's social groups going on, people will suggest others.
Yeah, but it just makes a lot of sense. It's kind of an easy way to start to maybe make some inroads to groups that maybe we're serving them already, but just another way to get their groups of people together. I've been talking a lot about the space and the community, bring the community together. That's a pretty simple way to do it, really.
Yeah,
So-
and then under communication, I was just curious, page 21, it said the Lake County marketers, so is that
Yeah.
like marketing? or-
Yes, there's a group of organizations in Lake County that, and I think it's nonprofits, I don't think it's just libraries, that get together and they share ideas. I think it's once a quarter that Sandy attends that, so, yeah, so it's just a good networking group to
Like,
talk
when I
about
first read
best
it,
practices.
I read market, and then I was like, no, not market.
Yeah, no, it's for heads of communications organizations to get together and talk about what they're doing, what's successful, what's not, that kind of thing.
So I have a question. With CCS, as I understand it, the definition of a new book is different than it used to be.
That's right.
So our shelves of new books at the front of the library are incredibly bare right now.
Yeah, part of that is because of the new policy changes. Part of that is that our book vendor, they've had some issues. They were holding some books and not delivering them to us, and we've got that resolved. So you'll start to see more new books on the shelf. So it's a combination of the two things: the change in length when we de-new items, and then the issues with the book vendor.
Okay.
But yes, it has looked really barren. Yes, yeah. So.
Just don't like seeing empty shelves.
No.
Like right when you walk in. All right. Anybody else have any questions? All right. Then let's move on to old business. Building systems update.
We are, we're still working on, preparing for the, that week of closure and limited service. So I think those plans are coming together well for staff. We are still, the schedule still looks good. The one, not so much challenge is that I'm working with Wold and talking to the village about screens for the HVAC units. Because the village is wanting more information about the height because there's something in the village regulations about code about screens, but I think we're going to be okay since they were existing. But that's the only minor challenge right now.
During construction or permanent?
Permanent, yeah. But that's still to be determined. I don't think it's going to be a major issue. So we're having good communications with the village. So we'll. Worst case scenario, we'll have to put some screens, and then it's just would be on the north and south part of the buildings. There would be maybe a little bit of a cost to that, but I'm optimistic that there will not be a fee for that, and we won't have to do that. So.
I would like to interrupt the flow for a moment. Do we have checks or no checks?
Oh, yeah, no checks because, yes. So I would ask signers, hopefully later this week, I'll send out a message if you were so kind to come by. Yes, good question, Andrea.
When do you expect the village to get back to you?
And we're having active communication, so I don't know when it will be resolved. I would think the next couple of weeks. We just got it measured last, I think it was on Friday, so I think this week we'll have word back hopefully, or next couple of weeks. Other questions about that, the building systems project?
All right, mobile services vehicle update.
So the RFP is out for the outreach vehicle. I did talk to one dealership that basically shared with me that due to the market right now, they probably won't get us something up until the last minute because when they have inventory, it goes quickly. So I don't have any RFPs back, but I'm not worried too much about that until we get to the due date, which is it's like the Friday, I think, before the committee of the whole, where we're gonna have the special meeting to review the RFPs. So that's that. I did talk to the board about potentially bringing the SBS agreement under new business for the board to approve. But before I do that, Scott and I are going to touch base with Michael again and ask some more questions. As you might recall, I shared with the board that's broken into 3 sections. So we want to get more into detail with what work is actually done in those sections because it may be a possibility where we could ask him for help on 1 area or 2 areas, not all 3. So that would save us some money potentially. So I'll let the board know about that. So, but I'd like to move on that, November regular board meeting to get that approved. Or if we wanted to move sooner, I guess we could potentially do it as part of the special meeting in November since we're going to talk about RFPs. I don't know what the board thinks. Would you want to move sooner on that or?
I think the regular meeting is fine for that.
Okay. Any questions about that?
All right, signage options. Do we have pretty pictures?
I don't, because once again, we've had the staffing issue with the staff member that has been unexpectedly out. Yeah, so
Okay.
we've had some challenges this week with staffing. And going back to last week, so we will look at that at November committee of the whole. I apologize if those aren't ready, but we're going to look at the revise some signage options from a further vantage point with the logo in color and also with English and Spanish. Just as a reminder, what we're going to look at. So.
All right, moving on to new business. Approval of secretary's report. Do we have a motion? the minutes.
To approve the secretary's report as presented.
I'll second it.
And these are on here because we have people who were missing, correct?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just trustee Arnold, correct?
Yes.
Flores.
There's two sets of.
There's different
minutes.
ones,
Yes.
yeah.
Two sets, the
See where
second one
You
is.
see where the motion is?
Yeah.
Over there?
So we're
But,
gonna do, we have to do two motions. One is going to be for the first,
Oh,
But
Oh,
Celeste
for the
was
public
present
hearing
on
and
the
then
Oh.
before.
Yeah.
She arrived
Okay.
late.
Okay, you were.
Yeah.
Perfect.
so do a vote or don't do not vote?
Oh, you were there, yeah.
Yeah,
Say
they were
public.
here.
Okay, I move.
Oh,
that
that's
we-
wrong.
I move to
No,
accept the
she
minutes of
arrived
public
late.
hearing budget
Later.
appropriation
Yeah.
fiscal year 23-24, September 19th minutes.
I'll second.
And the
Regular meeting minutes.
Oh, you want, I thought you wanted two different motions.
Well, yeah, I think we can do just
Yeah.
one.
Can we do one?
Yeah, we can do one.
Okay. Go.
Unless everybody's gonna vote the same for both, okay?
Mhm.
And the minutes from the regular meeting, September 19th, 2023.
I'll second.
All right, can we get a roll call for this one?
Is it on here because someone has to abstain?
Yes.
Sutton,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Arnold,
Abstain.
Beckwith,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Katsinis.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right. Next, resolution to determine the estimate of funds needed for fiscal year 2023-24, page 36.
Yeah, so this is the, as I said in the memo, this is kind of the, you know, the way that Roger Earthman explained this to me many years ago was this was kind of the warning device that if you're going to, whether you're gonna do the Truth in Taxation Act hearing or not. Once again, this is the second time ever in the history of PTEL in Illinois where you've got a 5% or more, CPI. So in order to capture new growth, we will be levying above that 5%. So that's what this is. This is the resolution the board passes every year, regardless of what the levy is going to be. It's part of your requirements to pass this. So then next month we'll have the hearing for the tax levy, and then you would pass the tax levy ordinance at the November meeting.
So motion that resolution 2023/2024.2 to determine the estimate of the funds needed for the FY 2023-2024 be approved as presented.
Second.
All right, roll call for this one, please.
Flores,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Katsinis.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
All right. So that brings us to after-school activity.
Yeah.
So I think that as the board is aware at this point, it's been a challenging year for us in terms of after school, and this ebbs and flows. Some years it's not so bad, other years it's bad, and this has been a tough year. Why is that? Is it because the kids that are coming from the freshman sophomore campus, like those years of COVID where they weren't socializing? I mean, it could be. I could be a lot of things, but what I will tell you about the students is that, and I'm painting a very broad brush because the majority of the students coming after school are lovely and they're here for the right reasons, but there are some students that are not, and they don't follow the policies. They're disrespectful. They're disrespectful to everybody, including Gurney police that interact with them. So what we have done to combat this is we made some creative furniture adjustments, and the last couple days of last week and at least to this week, we are having a uniformed off-duty Gurney police officer coming into the library to be here from 3:30 to 5:30. We are paying for that. It's not really budgeted, but I figured from consulting fees or some unused funds from liability for salaries, because we had a security monitor vacancy for a while, we can, obviously we can't sustain this forever. But the good news is, since we've taken these steps, we've been successful, where the kids seem to be better after school. So far we've gotten the what do they call them? The community service officers from the schools, is that the right term? From the yeah. So it was the gentleman from District 56 last week, and then so far this week we've had the gentleman from the high school who knows a lot of kids, so that's been helpful. So things are improving, and we basically want to take that step because last Wednesday some staff members had some really negative interactions. Just people, students completely disrespectful. We wanted to make sure we got a grip on it because staff were, nervous and anxious about this. These kids are, can be intimidating and so that's the update. So I feel like the steps we've taken have, we're getting a handle on it, but I wanted to share that with the board, what was going on and the steps we took.
Is
so.
the new sign about the
backpacks. Thank you for mentioning that.
Yeah,
That's
I
helped a
thought-
lot as well.
I
Ever
wondered
since we
about
did that,
Okay.
I think that sent a message because kids don't want to take their backpacks. They don't want to give us their names either.
What does the sign say?
It's something along the lines of, if you leave a backpack unattended, we're going to take it and keep it at the security desk, and to get it back, they'll show us an ID, a student ID, and
Prove that it's theirs.
prove that it's theirs.
Were they just throwing them in a bunch or what?
They would come in here, they'd throw them around, or they would, throw them around, and they'd go outside and, do whatever. So it was just, really, there's just a lot of disrespectful disbehavior, and they own the place.
I
And,
saw the sign there and I thought it was because of the bomb threats, which.
well, that's another
that's a
concern
really
too.
good
Yeah,
reason to have
yeah,
it as
yeah,
well.
yeah, yeah.
And I was here, yesterday and I thought, oh, things are calm, nobody's gathering, and then I saw the police officer.
Yeah. So.
And why can't we, ban people just like we do with adults that misbehave in the library?
Well, it's a good question, and we Sergeant Mann from the Gurnee Police Department. After Wednesday, on Thursday, I reached out to Chief Smith and I said, "Can a representative from the Gurnee PD come over and talk to us about this? Like, let's see what we can do." Because we did call them on Wednesday evening, and we were not really satisfied with their response. We felt they weren't very helpful to staff. But after talking to Sergeant Mann, he indicated, there are things they can do and they can't do. So if there's someone that commits a crime at the library, like the kids that were fighting last year. So if those kids come back, and they've tried to come back, that's trespassing. Since they committed a crime at the library, the Gurnee PD can do something about it. But if we're just asking kids to, leave for the day, they're swearing in the vaults, and we say, please leave, and they're like, I'm not going to leave, make me, and you call the police. They're protected by free speech. We can't really do much, or they can't really do much about that.
When someone is banned, doesn't our own security escort them out?
We try, but if they refuse,
Then the
you
police
can't. Our security monitors are not trained to physically, haul people out of here. That's not the way it works.
And call their
That
parents. to come
probably
get them.
isn't a good idea anyway.
Right.
No.
And
Someone is, do we know who these people are? Because I know we used to have some younger security guards who would get to know the kids, and they would try to control their behavior by being friends with, not being friends, but being
having a relationship
friendly
with them, yeah.
having a relationship.
They try.
And-
Certainly Felix knows many of the kids. Jameer, who we just hired, who's really fantastic. He's getting to learn the kids, but not all of them, or they don't really want to talk to the
And we don't
staff.
know who they are, so we can't.
Right. So it's getting, like I said, it's getting better. We're taking steps. It's just it's challenging because it's not as simple as we call the police are just going to take the kids away.
Can't
Yeah.
security just
Yeah.
go and stand there next to them?
They do, but it's
They
so
do.
bad,
They are
Andrea.
that
All the
bad.
kids just don't. Yeah, they don't
No,
care.
no.
They don't.
No respect for
Yeah,
authority.
if they don't respect the police, they're not going to respect the staff.
Yeah, threatening a
Yeah.
staff person, that's gotta be assault.
Right.
It's
Well,
gotta be.
Yeah, but it's
I mean, if staff are afraid they've been threatened, isn't that a crime? You
Have they
can't
been
verbally-
threatened, or are they just?
well, disrespectful. Yeah, it's one thing if
not
someone
obeying
is
what you're
yeah,
asking.
and it is a fine line, and these kids are clever enough to know where to stop, right?
Have
So.
we talked at all to the high school about the kids? I'm just wondering if they.
Yeah, well, yeah, we've had some conversations, and it's funny because when on Monday, when the resource officer from the high school was here, and there was a tutor here, you know, I guess one of the tutors, one of the kids, like, oh, I didn't see you in tutoring today, where were you? So yeah, I mean, we have some
That would be
communication,
nice,
but
yeah.
I, you know, once again, and I think it's hard, conversations you know, with talking with the schools and the police department is that it's, you know, it's hard, you know, because
Public thing.
yeah, well, and these, you know, they do what they can with the kids, but, you know, they obviously don't want to just like kick the kids out of school and send them
Right,
off somewhere. They're trying to work with the kids, but it's, you know, there's limits to what you can do when,
Call their
you know.
parents and have them come pick them up.
Yeah, but Bonnie,
I
one
mean,
of
high
the
school could
issues
do
is,
that.
one of the issues is with parents, that, you know, sometimes we talk to the parents
They
parents
don't
defend their kids.
Yep.
They, you know, they're enabling their kids. So
Therein lies the whole
it's
problem.
not always that, you know, you know, exactly.
Yeah,
It's,
exactly. No.
and I know, like, once again, this isn't universal, but for some kids, it's, you know, and I think, you know, in the defense of some of these kids, if they're in a home where you know, maybe it's a single parent that's working 2 or 3 jobs and they're not around, and, you know, it's tough situations.
Yeah, no,
So it's not,
That
you know,
doesn't explain them not knowing how to behave in public.
well, I know, but,
If there's not an adult around when they're around.
People, these kids have been going to school since
Well-
kindergarten. They know how to behave.
Well, and the other thing is, if someone says you're being too loud, what is it you're supposed to do? You're supposed to not be that loud, and they're doing it anyway. They
Yeah.
know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, they know what
They're
they're
just
supposed
not
to do.
doing it.
They just have no, they don't know how to behave. They know, they refuse to behave socially as they have been trained in school.
And, you know, the police, I mean, you know, remember back when the Tyrant Terminator was in here?
Yeah,
And remember that
yeah.
he came and got the guy and said, we can't deal with this, and
That's
the
right.
2 of them left,
Yeah.
the 2 officers.
yeah.
Because the first guy was kind of trying to help us, but then
The older.
the other one said,
yeah,
the supervisor
so-
said,
Well,
"We're
he
outta
said, yeah, and he said, you just can't videotape children. That was all they
Yeah.
couldn't do.
Mhm.
So,
Can we revoke their library cards? What can we do?
do they even have one?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, they even
Big
have
deal.
library cards. Well, and we're gonna talk about that with, one of the things, we'll talk about that with the study room policy,
What
we'll
can
get
we
there
do
in a
to
second.
empower the staff?
Not make them feel afraid.
Well, I mean, I think that's what we're trying to do, right? Because I think when the kids are not, you know, together, you know, they feed off of each other too. And there's always a couple of influencers. So, you know, with the tables, limiting seating at the tables, keeping them spread out, those kinds. So we're doing these things. But yeah, it's a great question, and we're trying to figure that out. So.
Well, if you're finding some success with having a officer around, that's helpful. At least that's a good.
Yeah,
start.
well, temporarily,
I
yes.
mean,
Yeah,
if
I
they
know,
take
but
out the
maybe-
vault, I mean, I would hate to close the vault, but it could be a
But
consequence.
then they go everywhere else.
I think most of the kids that are in the vault, for the most part, they're not issues.
So they're not
Yeah.
causing problems in the
Yeah,
vault.
I mean, I mean, sometimes a group of kids will go in the vault and cause issues, but it's, but yeah, Bonnie's right, they're just gonna
How
go.
many kids are we talking
And-
about? Are we talking about the same 10 kids, or is it changing?
That's a good question. I mean, in terms of like the influencers, I mean, I don't know, maybe it's 5 to 10, but, you know, but the influencers will, like, you know, kids that maybe would come in here and be respectful. I think when, you know how it is with kids, they get around other kids, they wanna show off and stuff.
Mhm,
So,
sure.
so I'm speculating there, Andrea, it's a good question.
No,
But it seems like it's more-
Are we talking 5 to 10, or are we talking 50 to 100? I mean, I have no idea.
In terms of the kids that come in after school,
No,
Like on
the
an
kids
average
that
day.
are causing problems.
I think it's, I mean, I think it's probably, I'm spitballing here, 25 to 30, you know?
Wow.
I mean,
So
I
that
think,
is quite a
I mean,
few.
I think it can be a lot, yeah, because they're groups of
Wow.
kids. It's not just like these 5 kids that come in and there are problems. It's like a lot of
And are
kids.
there that many, or does it like change, or are there that many 30 at one time?
Yeah, it can be busy after school, yeah. I mean, we could have, I'm just trying to think. Yeah, I could look at the
Not
door
total
counts, but-
kids in the library,
yeah.
total people who
Troubles?
are not acting appropriately, as many as 30 at one time?
I think so, yeah, I think it's fair to say.
Wow, this is
That's-
a major problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's more than I thought. too.
I can suggest, though, it's not the solution's not targeting individuals and saying we need to fix this person or that person. When you're talking about a structure like this, a building like this, we're right next to the high school. We're going to attract whoever is not able to get a ride home right away. And that's not a problem. I want to encourage kids to come to the library. We need to structure our spaces to funnel them into safe locations, though. And I think that's what you're trying to do.
Right.
as long as you can create an atmosphere of calm, it tends to permeate. And that's what you want to try to instill somehow.
Rather than get in their face and be aggressive.
Exactly. You want to make it passive so that it doesn't look like a space where you will act out.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that necessarily. Maybe the space expert we've been talking about can help us with that. But
Yeah, maybe.
So
Or you have to
what are
find
the
a-
furniture rearrangements that you did?
I mean, it's been helping, yeah. So
Well,
it's
what
been-
are they though?
Well, for example, and we did have some extra tables and furniture still from the quiet reading room that, so we've had extra furniture on the floor anyway, so we moved some of that around. So you see some tables and chairs here. Notice the gallery seating is the wooden chairs. So a lot of that's just been, moving things, just separate, put, in the adult space, we, behind the reference desk, there are tables, but then there are some study carrels that we put in between them to kind of space things out, things like that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What about positive reinforcement? Like, could we hire some of them, give them a job, put them to work?
Maybe.
No, but
I
I'm
mean, we do
serious,
have-
right? Like, instead of negative reinforcement, positive
No, yeah.
reinforcement. So you,
These are
Yeah, no, I like that line of
Idea,
thinking, yeah.
ambassadors.
there's
So-
lots of different ways to influence people into behaving
Yeah.
how you would like.
I mean, I don't know, give them for like snacks after school or something,
I was also, I don't think you want to do this, but do you put them, like, when my kids were little, you lock them in a room, let them get it all out?
Oh, no.
No, that's what's happened to study rooms. That's
No, but I'm just like
No, I
thinking
appreciate
differently.
that. I appreciate
I'm
the
gonna
ideas.
combine what you both said. So snacks, we could give out, rewards, like, here's a token for the snack machine. We'll wanna, not take all the kids behaving well, but the ones who don't behave well, staff knows who they are, and when you see one behaving well, say, here, I noticed that you're acting appropriately, here's a gift.
Just-
I don't
Any
know.
idea is a
I
good
know.
idea right now, but
You had it on your report, doing some kind of programming with the township and the youth services. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything, like, I know there's, I don't know, they're teenagers, right? I don't know if they want programming, right? But if there's like, I don't know, something for them to like channel their energy into, not everyone's gonna wanna do it, right? But
Yeah.
I don't know, or even like with nonprofits, like boys and girls, like I can brainstorm more, right? Like what are organizations that might, I mean, I know all nonprofits are limited in what programming they can do, but
Yeah.
I think we should put them to work, shall they?
Does anybody have a German Shepherd we could pretend a drug sniffing dog?
I don't think that'll help much.
Maybe.
But I will say I painted a gloom and doom picture. The changes we've made have improved things, so we'll see if it maintains. So I think it's one of those things with the improvements we made, we'll kind of wait and see. But I think that these are interesting ideas. I think maybe you can run that by staff, the idea of rewarding the, good behavior. I mean, I think you're right. There could be some
Yeah.
opportunities there.
what's like the time frame that they're here? I have like no concept of school.
Well, it's generally 3:30 to 5:30. However, the incident that happened Wednesday was I think around 6:30.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it generally is at
Yeah,
3:30 and
standard.
5:30 after school. Yeah.
Wonder if the cold-
And and another issue has been the students lingering in the parking lot or by the entrance. But I think at least this week with the police outside, kind of seeing the kids as they come in, that's kind of addressed that.
The weather will take care of that.
Yeah, and the weather will take care of that.
That's just what I
Yeah.
was thinking, George.
Yeah.
When it's real cold, then they might come inside.
Yeah.
So the
but
ones
I-
waiting outside are likely trying to avoid any sort of authority that might tell them what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, old man winter's coming.
Yeah, but honestly, Bonnie, rather than be inside, because when they're outside, if they're lingering for the book drop and that type of
Well,
thing.
and reading a report, it was intimidating, people
Yeah.
trying to come into the library, that bothered me.
And if you don't know the kids too, they'll do this like play fighting, where it looks
Oh,
like
yeah.
they're like, if you're looking from a distance, you're like, oh, those kids are about to fight. They just, a lot of the kids just like to mess around,
Yeah.
just like, it looks like a
Yeah.
fight at first,
I
but it's
know.
just play fighting,
Yeah.
so.
Hand out lightsabers, see what they do.
Hand out lightsabers, I like it.
Like those foam.
George, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the foam.
Put them in a pit, ball pit.
New event in the points or in the goals.
Oh my gosh.
Any other questions about after-school
Okay.
activity?
We could have a program like with food or with something great to eat and it's by invitation only. We hand that out.
You know, one of the interesting things we've discovered too is when we have gaming in the vault, since actually it's like it's better.
Yeah,
Yeah, oddly enough.
Because they're
absolutely.
They're
Because they're
occupied.
They're
occupied.
occupied
You got
and it's
something-
Well, no,
something that is-
the kids that are causing trouble, they're not the ones they're not the gamers. The
don't
gamers are fine. So I think
Yeah.
it's just like they don't want to be
They're
around when they're playing the
watching,
games.
or-
Yeah, I don't know. I can't figure it out. But
The
that's what I was told.
gamers generally, they're the nerdy types.
The nerdy types.
They're getting into other kinds of trouble.
So you know, George, I know nothing about
They do their
that.
fights online. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
yeah.
Oh,
So
gosh. Other kinds of trouble.
Well, we wish you every success. Any way
gosh,
we can help you, let us
yeah.
know.
sure, we'll do. No,
So sad.
well, helping me that leads us to George, the next agenda item.
Study room.
Oh, God.
Policy 3030 or 3053, so at your tables.
Because this is a real, pressure point for staff. And the way the policies are written, you might remember 3060, probably should have printed a copy. You have minor violations and major violations. And basically with minor violations, we can ask you to leave at the end of the day. But the major violations are the big ones that, will get you suspended, loss of privileges, that type of thing. But when it's it's that kind of middle ground that's not currently covered in 3053 that causes an issue because kids go into the study rooms and they're coming in and out all the time, making a lot of noise, throwing things around, that type of thing. And although we can, staff can ask them, maybe to leave, there's really nothing in the policy that empowers staff to say, okay, you've lost the privileges to use study rooms, and that would help. So as
They
opposed
need
to
I'm sorry, they need a library card.
no,
Really?
no,
Anybody,
oh yeah, you do need a library card. Yes, you do need a
Yeah.
library card to get to the
reserve
room,
it,
to reserve
not
the
to
room.
use it.
Yeah, not, but the problem is if you just address the one kid, then another kid will use the library card. So, but even then it's.
They'll eventually run out of library cards.
But the policy's not crystal clear on that you can lose your privileges for this kind of like being too loud. So basically what the additions I'm asking for, and we'll want to bring this back again, the additions I'm asking for would be to basically say something about the noise levels. You've got to keep noise at a reasonable level. And then, and maybe this is heavy-handed, this is something, I think we can live with just the noise addition, but then this language, the library reserves the right to cancel any existing reservation and or deny permission to use a room. I don't know if that's too much
No, I
power
think
for
that
staff
makes
or.
sense. That's easy enough.
Because the librarians aren't going to do that for people who use the
Yeah.
rooms as intended.
Right.
It's still not clear though that they have to have a library card to reserve it, correct? Where is that mentioned in the policy?
No, you're right, I don't think it is.
And is that
There
one?
isn't, I mean, if you can do it by phone. I guess they
But we
could
do ask
try.
for, I know, we ask for a library card, though, yeah, you're right, it's not in the policy.
And it has to be a WNPL library card, I assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
I would
That's
even
weird,
reserve
that's-
rooms in other libraries without their card.
But
I'm
maybe we can
not
start
giving
this
an
way.
opinion, I'm just saying that was my experience. I'm looking at this proposed wording, if noise levels remain a disruption after being addressed by library staff once, an individual or individuals may be asked to leave. Can we follow that up with, if asked to leave
And,
a second time or on another day, staff has the ability to permanently ban?
I think that's what that last part is about.
We shouldn't be thinking, we should be clear.
Which last part, George?
The library reserves the right to cancel any existing reservation and or deny permission to use a room. We're not even giving a reason why.
Right, but telling them, we're telling
Two
you
strikes,
once,
you're out.
you're done, next time you do this, that's it, you're
Well, you
banned.
got the Article 4.
They're not gonna be reading the policy, they need to be told.
I'm concerned that if we put in too many caveats, it constrains the librarians a little too much in what they
No,
can do.
they don't have to, it's at their discretion.
That's my
We're
point.
not constraining them at all.
That's exactly what
But
this
they'd
says now.
have to
though.
keep track of it,
Yeah.
so if I was on the desk one day and you
They'll know.
were on another.
Yeah, but
I
when the
don't-
same librarian sees them over, they don't,
But if they're
But-
not
but,
working.
Joe-
at-
Joe
I
is
would
right.
like to give
Yeah.
them power.
No, I appreciate that, but Joe is right, because it's different shifts on the desk, and that's one of we've improved our communication, but someone that's working, tomorrow afternoon may not be the same person working the next
But
afternoon.
what difference does that make? 'Cause
We don't
when
wanna have a
another-
rogues
someone
gallery
has
of
to
people
keep-
not allowed.
I'm not talking about keeping track. I'm there, let's say I'm there on Wednesday, and then I'm there the following Friday. I know it's the same kid. It doesn't matter whether he did it in between. I know it's the same kid. Now I've got the authority to say, hey, that's it for you.
Yeah, I think we're saying that very clearly here already. That's addition in the last
Yeah.
bullet.
I think
You guys
she's talking
understand what
about
I'm
the
saying
entire
about that?
library, not just use of the
Ah.
study rooms.
Yeah,
She's saying you are kicked out 30 days, or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you can't, any librarian who sees repeated behavior,
That would be a different policy, though. That's not study rooms.
Loss of privileges, or
Yeah, I mean,
before.
It's,
Except the,
May result
it's a
in
study
loss.
room policy, so
Right.
it has to do with.
Cause some-
privileges,
we
choose to
can word
do
it in the study room policy so they don't get it. So they don't get the study rooms. We've gotta take privileges away from people who are not behaving, and it can't be, and they are not gonna be reading this policy.
Is most of the drama in the study room, outside the study room?
It's everywhere, but the study rooms are yes, they tend to be a regular location for groups of students getting together and yes, making a lot of noise, being out of control, that type of
and
thing.
is it the same group, I mean, the kids obviously know enough to reserve the rooms, right? So is it the same group of kids that keeps, I wonder?
Not always. No, it's
No?
different groups. Yeah.
Okay.
Anytime you get 10 teenagers in one room, they're going to be loud.
5 teenagers would be it, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I just wondered if it was, they're smart enough that they are reserving.
Which, I have a comment on this. It's not necessarily a policy comment, but just reading the policy.
Mm-hmm.
We are talking about renovating these rooms, at least some of them this year.
We have we have done reservations within the confines of our budget, so we've added monitors, that type of thing. But go ahead.
Soundproofing is not one of the things that's currently in the budget. Is that something we should consider for the budget?
Yeah, ideally, sure.
And what would that look like?
In terms of what it would cost.
What it would cost, how we would do it, etc. Because those rooms, people use them. We don't want them to be too constrained in using them.
Yeah, I think when we looked at we raised for the annual appeal for study room upgrades. Remember, we didn't budget anything. We basically did what we felt needed to be done, and it was cost prohibitive. But we can. I know staff is in the research. I can find
I
out.
kind of disagree with that though, because I think a normal use of the study room doesn't need soundproof. And that if, it just seems like to spend money on that when,
Well, I'm not talking about making them music practice rooms, but at least
I
some
get it,
soundproofing.
But even if you
But-
had a group study in there, it's not raucous, right? It's
Right.
quiet, people
we
talking
should
in
be talking
conversational
about their
voice.
test. I don't see.
I was in different study groups than you were.
Yeah.
They can get animated sometimes.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad idea to explore it, but I think it's.
I think if it's taking staff time is expensive.
Mhm.
And we're stretching them to the limit, and I do think it is. If they're researching something that, way back during the dark days, we had decided to, if a board member brought let's rename the street, let's take a quick poll and see if people are interested in doing it, so staff doesn't spend 2 days researching on how to change the name on the street
Yeah.
from Brookhaven to Bookhaven. That,
They're separate topics though, is my,
Yeah,
like
they
the
are
kids
separate
is, even if it's soundproof, they're still misbehaving, not.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
So they're
Good
sort of
point,
separate
good
topics.
point.
I don't know if that
And then you
matters.
have to go
Yeah,
in
yeah,
and
yeah.
you can't even,
it'll never be soundproof enough.
right.
No.
No,
I have a question about the added bullet point, in Article 3 about reserves the right to cancel any existing reservation or deny permission to use a room. Do we need to qualify that? I mean, that's so broad.
Based on misuse or something like that?
Yeah,
Just
exactly. I
something-
mean, not just,
Is
I
that what
like
mean?
that it's broad,
Somebody else
actually.
Like
came
the
in.
group
Yeah.
or
Mhm. That's right, that's a good point.
I think a broad statement there is more useful right now. We're gonna
Can
take a
we
look at
add
this policy again
another-
soon, right?
Yeah, we're gonna look at it next month, actually. Yeah, the intent tonight was just to get this change added, so staff are empowered to, you know, do something about anyone that misbehaves in the city rooms, essentially, so.
So we'll trial it for a month and then, or
Talk
a
about
couple
it
weeks
next
and then
month.
see what else it needs.
Yeah, like for example, talking about, you know, the changes to the spaces, looking at the capacity, and do we want to treat the study room 3 and 6 the same as the study rooms? Because, you know, now with the monitors, is that more of a conference room? I think we're still trying to work this out, you know, among staff, but that, like, things like that we want to take a look at. You know, do you,
Those doors all lock, right?
no.
Not yet.
So we couldn't, there's no physical barrier for someone.
Who wants to be in there? Mhm. Well, that's when Ryan was talking about the push button.
Yeah, that's like,
For 3 and
Like
6.
through, like, even through, I mean, it would have to be Communico, but our online calendar, that's Communico. When you go in and say you're gonna attend a library event, that's Communico. They have the ability to go in, and we'd have to pay for the hardware. I believe we already have the software, where you could, like, keypad to get into the
That's
rooms.
what-
So
yeah.
someone
Yeah,
makes,
but that might be very expensive, but just a key lock might be very inexpensive.
It's-
well, that would be
Instead-
cheaper for sure, yeah.
I mean, because we can put them all with the same key and you just lock the room. They can't have it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a problem fortunately, when we've told, like, a group of students, if they go and, oh, that room looks open, can I have it? If it's reserved, someone's coming, we say, they don't like use it without
Well,
going
I'm
through the
talking
desk.
now that we have this policy
Yeah.
to deny them,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
they could just go in and sit down anyway, and it seems like that's the type of thing that they do.
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but I guess it could happen.
I mean, you don't need our permission to do that for some of the larger rooms, to just put keys on them.
Except then the staff has to come and lock and unlock. If it's a normal person who's reserving the room, that
Yeah.
keypad idea, then they would know what they're.
Yeah, but that's
whatever.
very expensive, that's not in the budget, this is something that is inexpensive, it can be done right away, and won't be out of the budget.
The only concern I have is if a staff member has to come then and lock it and say, you're out here, lock it, it's kind of I don't know, it could get into an aggressive.
Confrontational.
Yeah.
Well, we get-
But we're really only talking about a certain time period, like from 3 to 6.
Yeah.
Or they could be always auto lock.
Mhm.
Well, let me, Andrea, that's a good point, let you raise, let me ask staff about that and get their
Yeah,
thoughts.
we're
'Cause it's-
probably only talking about the larger conference rooms for 3 hours a day,
yeah,
on the weekdays only.
I move that policy 3053 study rooms be approved as presented.
I'll second that.
Yeah, let's get a roll call for this.
Hamilton,
Aye.
Arnold,
Aye.
Sutton,
Aye.
Farkapisi,
Aye.
Beckwith,
Aye.
Flores,
Aye.
Kotsinis,
Aye,
ayes have it.
thank you, that's very
Good luck.
helpful. No, I think it'll help a lot, thank you.
all right. Page 40 in your packets. The per capita equalization aid grant application requirements.
So, you mean to lead this, how does the board wanna handle this? So you have received a digital copy of Serving Our Public 4.0. Do we want to did the board get a chance to review it? Do we wanna, take some chapters and take a series of meetings to review? What are the board's thoughts on this process? As I mentioned last time, we are either we've either already addressed our deficiencies from the last review, or they're in our new strategic plan to address.
And this is the document that's unchanged since the last time we reviewed it a year ago.
Correct, I think we've reviewed it twice, right? Yeah, so this would be the third time.
So is
I mean,
everyone
I-
comfortable
yeah.
reviewing it on their own?
Yeah.
Yes, sure.
All right, we're all grown-ups, we will all review it on our own without the library board supervising directly, right?
In a study room.
Can I just ask, because I wasn't involved the last time it was
Yeah.
reviewed, what should I be looking for when I go over it?
It's well organized. If you just look through the sections of it, it just covers how to serve our public.
It's a
Yeah.
checklist, like yes or no kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Right? I mean,
Yeah,
that's how I-
correct. And so if you, when you look at it, if you see something that you're like, do we really do this? I'm not sure about it, just
Make a
reach
note.
out. Yeah, make a
Okay.
note and
Okay, thank you.
because I will say, and this isn't to,
Yeah, oh, I didn't get that far.
yeah, this isn't to pat us on the back or anything, but these are standards for all Illinois public libraries, and as the board probably is aware, we're, basically, any library in Lake County is, even the poorest Lake County libraries are quite well funded compared to some, libraries outside the county downstate. So none of these standards, I don't think are unreasonable. So a lot of these things we easily, fulfill.
Okay. thank
Should
you.
everyone bring their favorite item to talk about?
I can bring colored highlighters.
Pink, orange,
Put your order in.
green.
You still got those big,
The big bud.
I mean, otherwise, if we review it on our own, are we just done then? How do we
I think
actually
so.
make it?
Well, we'll bring the per capita equalization grant, the application for the board to approve prior to January 30th. So
Yes,
probably,
so
what,
if we-
December board meeting?
January, the
January board
January
meeting? Is that-
regular meeting.
Is that okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in January, you will each say, yes, we've approved this and we've reviewed the document.
So we're gonna talk about it at January committee of the whole?
You don't
Sure
have
is.
to-
There's not gonna be committee of the whole.
Oh, that's right.
Well, I think we could talk about it, we could do it in December.
Yeah,
December?
There's not, I might as well get it done.
Let's talk about it in December.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
I'll drop a list of quiz questions.
Reading
Anybody gets,
comprehension.
and I'll bring a nice bottle of bourbon and shot glasses. Anybody gets it wrong.
That's against policy, Andrea.
Just know your
We'll have
stuff.
a special meeting to do that at Mickey Finn's.
Yeah,
or
there,
the-
that was,
I'm all for that. Timothy O'Toole's, it's in our district.
Thank you, thank you.
Good.
My bad.
they're doing a trivia for Halloween.
Ooh,
Timothy
standards for
O'Toole?
Illinois
Oh,
Public
good.
Libraries trivia.
Oh, dear.
George, help us.
All right, moving on.
I've led trivia
Yeah,
before.
thank you, move it on.
Other items for the 2023 November agenda, regular meeting.
Oh, my gosh.
Cut me for, financial statement presentation
Right.
from our
We
public
have it in
accountants. And if they don't do it, I will. Let's let them do it remotely as well.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right, that brings us to our executive session for tonight.
What if we, do the announcements and all that, and then we can make a motion to stop recording?
I'm good with
So we don't
that.
have to
Oh.
do it at the end.
And so let's move section 15, announcements, to right now. Anything beyond what is listed already here?
All my announcements, my firm is paying for me to become a notary. So, next time around, I can notarize everybody's petition.
Petitions, there we go. They know what to do. That's great.
Is that, I'm planning on coming to Hispanic Heritage Month. I don't know if anyone else is for
I'm gonna
Gina
this
to make a
try.
post.
Oh. On
Yeah.
Saturday,
Yeah.
Saturday, 11 to 1.
my son was invited to sing. He's in the kindergarten class. So
What time is that?
Aww.
we're gonna try to come.
Yeah, I
Oh.
was going to try to.
Is that still happening, the school?
What's that,
Like the kindergarten class, I think, was invited to sing.
Oh,
11
I
a.m.
didn't know about that, but
Well,
that's
maybe they're
great.
just
I know we're
showing
doing, there's gonna be a lot of student
Yeah.
art displayed, and I think we're gonna keep that up. I think it's gonna be up for a week, so even if you can't make the event on Saturday, try to come back and look at the student art that's gonna be
Right,
displayed.
because still they're gonna do the Dia de los Muertos, and so
Okay.
it's different type of things.
They're singing day carnivals. I've
So-
been singing it all the time.
Any other announcements? Alright, if not, let's move back to section 12. I will move that the board enter into executive session 5 ILCS 120/2.C1 to review the performance of the executive director.
I'll second it.
Including the executive director? or
I'm not
Not for this
Okay.
one.
Okay.
Alright, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Alright,
It is
it is, what is,
8:01,
Yeah, that's an hour fast, don't worry.
it is
7:56.
7:56.
7:56.
Right.
The name tags.
Okay.